linear, right? Like you said, one, two, three, four, five, six, sequential. That's how our brains work. A lot of it goes back to how our brains work. It's how we think. Technology is evolving exponentially. So if anyone remembers going back to like when COVID started and they talked about flatten the curve, it was an exponential curve, right? It starts small and then it grows dramatically up like a hockey stick. So the difference is because technology is going exponentially, the speed of processors, speed of all these things, we too should be able to train our brain to not just think linearly. So what I mean by that is, if, let's say you work in an organization and you're coming up with your strategy for the next year, linear thinking is just like when you mentioned A to B. But think about companies. So think about, I'll use like Uber, right? Uber is a transportation company. A to B would have been, okay, let's figure out how to do a cab that people can share that we own. They skipped all the way to, okay, let's build a transportation company and let's not own any cars. Or like Airbnb, let's do the next innovation of a hotel, but let's not own any physical buildings. That's exponential thinking. So it's not just keeping up with technology, it's training your brain to not just think what's next, because again, that's how it works. Like, what are we doing tomorrow? What's happening here? What's my next step with my fitness? But we want to think exponentially ahead. How do we do this? How do we get over that? And it's amazing. They will do very different experiments with different age people. Like they'll show different sizes of pizzas and they'll ask them, which one is bigger. And we always pick the ones that are smaller because they look linearly bigger. They're the bigger pizzas versus like three or four of the smaller ones. So I guess the takeaway is to kind of keep up with people that want to say, okay, I want to get a new job. I want to innovate. I want to do something with my life. I want to do these things. It's easy for me to say, okay, we'll start thinking exponentially. But what I want them to say is be humble, like realize there's more for you to learn. And I call it intellectual humility. Like you're not just going to get through the next big breaking point and become the CEO of a company by just looking at something and then saying, okay, I'm going to just tweak it. Like think differently. That's how we've come up with a lot of our innovations over the past decade, is this thinking outside the box, using things that are designed for something else than what they are, and thinking exponentially.